Hello, everybody. Welcome to a podcast. I have the pleasure to have Björn Wilmsmann here. We know each other quite for a long time. We always meet in Barcelona at Spring IO. I think we didn't meet anywhere else so
Yeah,
far. So thank you very much for being here, Björn.
yeah,
And I
sure.
think
It's a
we
pleasure.
start with a short introduction of yourself. So please go ahead.
Hi everyone. Hi Simon. Thanks for having me. And my name's Björn Wilmsmann. I'm a self-employed independent IT consultant have been for many years now, and I'm working in what's called digital transformation, automation, so automating business processes with software. Starting with your typical requirements engineering, so assessing what a business's requirements are in terms of automation, and then transforming typically manual processes, traditionally Excel or email-based or even paper-based processes into a software-based process, into a software-based product business users can use to have more efficient processes. So that's basically it.
Cool. Thank you very much. So you wrote me on LinkedIn because for people who don't know, I created a process called AI Unified Process. It's kind of a spec-driven process where I'm working for my customers. And you somehow know about that. Can you tell me where did you heard first about the AI Unified Process?
Yes, so it's again a Spring IO story because I attended your talk at Spring IO about this very topic and was extremely intrigued by this process because I've been working with AI tools for a long time, uh, even before ChatGPT. So the what's called the iPhone moment of AI in 2022. I have somewhat of a background in artificial intelligence as well, having studied computational linguistics. So I know what these current large language models, so the mainstream basically of AI nowadays are based upon how those basically work. So I've somewhat of an AI background, been following this subject for quite some time, and was extremely interested in what you had to tell about using a spec-driven process to make AI, specifically engineering with AI, more reliable, more reproducible. So because I've already been working with Claude Code for quite some time as well, but it always seemed a bit like this whole vibe coding approach. While it gets you ahead and makes you much more productive, it seemed a bit haphazard at times. So it wasn't really that the results generated by Claude Code, although in general were quite good, they could be and in different instances, Claude Code generated different code for the same problem, making this general idea, this general approach not as reliable as we probably as software engineers would like it to have. So I was extremely interested in what you had to tell about using specifications to make this process more reliable. And having had a product idea for quite some, or just a few weeks before Spring IO, I thought, why not try and realize this product idea using this new process you introduced, and the results were breathtaking, really. So it was really quite some experience.
That sounds great. But when you look at my process, you have entity models, you have system use cases, you have requirements. Didn't feel the process or the artifacts quite old. I mean, you're also in the industry for quite a while, and I think some principles that I'm using are software engineering from the very old days of software engineering. How did you feel about that?
Yes, so in fact, of course, reminded me having been there in the 1990s, where this whole idea of generating software from just UML diagrams was quite the hype back then. So people really thought nobody would require software engineers to actually write code anymore. In the 1990s, can you believe it? I mean, what's now transpired using AI, that this might actually become reality. So software engineers not having to write code anymore. People really anticipated this idea in the 1990s already, which of course didn't work out quite that well. And yes, UML is of course quite can seem quite bureaucratic, quite documentation heavy process, and but it really depends on how you use it. So if you really try and define every nook and cranny, every aspect of your software just using these diagrams, that can be quite cumbersome, quite awkward even to use and to use productively. But I've always been a strong supporter of using use case diagrams, entity models, because those give you a better understanding of what you're actually trying to build. So you probably don't want to use the more complex UML diagrams anyway, but these, at least these two aspects, entity models and use case diagrams, I found always useful.
Cool. So maybe we should dive into what you actually built. So what was your problem that you had to solve? And finally, how did you solve it?
Yes, so the idea was a product called Deck Weaver, which deck refers to slide decks, so presentations. Because the problem I was facing was that again, using AI tools quite extensively, using a ChatGPT for collaborating with a ChatGPT to generate presentation content, basically. So what I do for many of my clients is conducting project-based workshops. So not your run-of-the-mill standard software training where I provide just very generic instructions into some sort of technologies such as Spring Boot, but some more project-specific training. So that's very related to the problems the teams in a company are having. So, and this means I need to create lots of presentations, lots of individual presentations. So there's not my general slide deck I can reuse for every such training, but I have to generate or create new slide decks basically for each instance of such a workshop. And using ChatGPT for that has been a huge help. So, but the problem with that still is ChatGPT and similar models, similar chatbots, typically generate markdown content, which is perfectly fine, which is actually very useful when working with text-based AIs, because that kind of content can then be processed by other AI tools again. However, having Google Slides, so Google Workspace as my main productivity tool, I always had to copy and paste that markdown content into Google Slides, which was quite some, felt always like useless work. So used them, leveraged ChatGPT for streamlining my process, for really accelerating my process, just to then again being the copy and paste monkey who actually does work computers should do for us. So I shouldn't be copying and pasting for like 30 minutes or so just because the AI tool couldn't access Google Slides using an API. So what I did, or what I thought about, was why not create a tool for that? So and that was the basic idea behind DeckWeaver, a tool that takes Markdown content and creates Google Slide decks from that content. And what I did initially is just create an initial Spring Boot project from the, what's it called again, Spring Initializer, and just provided the dependencies I thought might be useful. So something like the Google Slides API, Google Cloud dependencies, Spring AI, of course, for not just allowing me to copy and paste already generated Markdown content, but to make this generating Markdown content part of the application as well. And by just providing these dependencies, just some general project structure, obviously, or not quite so obviously, I already had enough information for your AI unified process tools to generate useful requirements and use cases from that. So just from these really basic information, so, and just 2 or 3 sentences in the README file, your tool was able to extract the requirements and use cases I envisioned for the project. So it was really mind-boggling. It was like mind reading, really. It was really quite the experience.
Very cool. That sounds amazing. Now, how long did it take to generate that? And if you tell me how long it will take, I assume that it will be quite short. But what would you estimate if you had to build it the traditional way?
So had I built it traditionally, I'm guessing at least like, well, 4 weeks full time, basically. And and the AI unified process tools and Claude Code subsequently allowed me to really create a first version of this tool within 2 or 3 days, and not really working full time, just supervising the AI agent and just working as a supervisor to the AI agent who worked just based on the generated specifications. So it was really at least 2 orders of the magnitude faster. So it was really quite the process acceleration. Yeah.
So speaking about the setup somehow. So what you're telling me is that you exactly have to know what you want to build. So that's probably the most important part. But on the other hand, you also told me that you created the project by your own. So you did the scaffolding for AI. So you used Spring Initializer, you created the project the traditional way. You even did implicit architecture work, didn't you?
Yes, so just by providing just a few sentences in the project's README file on how or what I envisioned this product to be. And the basic architecture work consisted just of providing the dependencies I thought might be useful. I really wasn't at that point quite so sure if I was to use each of those dependencies or if I might exchange it for another one. It was just things like, for example, Timeleaf or specific JavaScript tools for making, for providing more interactive user experience. But this was just some basic ideas. So not really flashed out detailed architecture, just a basic vision, if you will.
Okay. Now, we are both working as consultants.
Yeah.
And we are usually paid by the hour.
Yeah.
How do you think will AI change that in the future? Because you told me that you created your own application in a few hours. So if you would work full time on that project, you probably would be finished after now a day or two.
Yeah,
And
right.
now, if you imagine that we build software in an hour or two, how can we sell our services in the future? Or what are the skills that the consultant needs in the future to be still on the market and be of value for customers?
Yeah, this has been a pet peeve of mine for really quite some time, because I think this whole hour-based or time-based pricing for consultants is really backwards. It's really because it doesn't really represent the value we're creating. So this is just us billing in terms of time wasted instead of value created. That seems so backwards to me, and it's really been a problem to implement value-based pricing in the software industry, in the consulting industry, because I think this is both down to most consultants lacking somewhat in the marketing department, and also customers often not really understanding the value of the software that's being created. So this is why hour-based pricing still is the default in our industry, but I definitely think that has to change, and this had to change for quite some time now. But at this point, hour-based pricing just doesn't work anymore, because we're creating such an enormous amount of value using these tools, and this has to be reflected in the way we price our services as well. So what coming back to your question, what I think software consultants, IT consultants really need even more right now is marketing and sales skills. So not in terms of pushy car salesman approach, but rather in terms of finding out what the customer needs and what the value of that solution you're creating for them actually is, because this not just helps you with pricing your services and keeping your business running, but it also creates a better understanding for the customer how the business actually works, where the value, where the inefficiencies in their business actually are, because by providing a value or upfront, really by telling the customer of analyzing what the value is you create for them, you're actually creating transparency for the customer. So that's basically the first value you create for your customer. So not just the final product, but you're providing a much needed transparency to the business.
So you mean that we act as kind of solution providers, helping businesses to get their processes automated in a way, or help them to build software around their business processes to make them more efficient, and that should be the price that we get. So based on what we say for them or how we help them, and we build the whole solution, not just do software development work, right?
Exactly. So like this would work, for example, you're analyzing, assessing existing processes, for example, an existing Excel-based solution, and you're finding out how many hours are wasted using that solution because, for example, that solution doesn't work all the time, or it creates errors. It's not that reliable as you would expect a software for a particular business process, such as accounting process, for example, to be. And you're putting a number on that. So you're not just saying this is inefficient, but you're saying you're wasting 10,000 euros per month on that, which might actually, if the company is somewhat larger, might be a realistic value for such a traditional Excel-based solution. And then you can say, So this, for example, on the air, this weighs 120,000 euros for you. So if I can build a solution for you for 30,000 euros. That's still 90,000 euros per year for the first year saved, and for any subsequent year, that will be basically free money. So by anchoring your the value you create to or by anchoring that value you create, you can demand realistic prices that sound that are reasonable to the customer.
Cool. That's very interesting, and I'm very curious how this will change our work or our pricing model or the value we create. Now let's go back to the development work that you did. So you told me you just generated everything. First of all, did you review all the code that was produced, or did you just test it?
I have to admit, I didn't review everything. So that's something you hear time and time again, and of course, it's a reasonable approach to always review all the code generated by AI. But given this, especially when it came to that part of the code base that communicated with the Google Slides API, which is kind of really technical or arcane code. I really didn't feel like reviewing all these technical details. I just had a cursory look at it, so just to make sure it basically does what I need, and I only reviewed the actual business processes in more detail. So it didn't review everything. So just some things I just gave a cursory glance, basically.
Okay.
Yes. So.
And how did you feel about the process? So you didn't. I mean, a lot of developers tell me, "Hey, you're taking away the best part of my job, so the actual programming." But based on our conversation, I think we both are more on the side of building solutions instead of creating code.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So I've always liked creating code. Always felt good, but it's not like I depend on writing code, that I need this for considering my job to be fulfilling. So, like yourself, I find myself on the side of creating larger solutions from top to bottom, and I'm not in the business of writing code. That's not my business at all. So my business is creating a solution, and traditionally, writing code has been part of that. But what actually feels satisfying creating software is creating value from nothing. That's that you're able to create a huge amount of value from basically just atoms, if you will. So you can. This is really transformative. It's a bit like the artist with an empty canvas. You can also create just something from his mind's eye, basically. So that's really what has been appealing to me for regarding software development for quite some time, or really basically for forever, for most of my professional life, or even back then when I was just doing this as a hobby. So just being able, just remembering the C64 prompt now. So basically the C64 operating system was basic, and it allowed you to create right away. It's just the mode of creation has now changed. So we're using natural language and specification. But the basic idea still is the same, being able to create something from nothing.
Very cool. So, I mean, you created the project for your own. So that's
Yeah.
your solution. Is it available in the internet? Can I use it as well?
The repository is private for now, so I'm still figuring out the ultimate business model or business direction I'm trying to go into with this one. So maybe I will publish this at open source in the future. Right now, it's available under usedecweaver.com, which anyone with a Google account, Google Workspace account, basically can use and try out. Maybe it will be a commercial product in the future. I'm really not sure about that yet. Maybe it will be open source, but anyway, it's already available under usedecweaver.com for everyone to try out.
Very cool. Very interesting. Now, maybe one of the last questions. You created your own solution. Could you imagine to work with that process for your customers? So, because I think what spec-driven development does was it moves the effort to the requirements engineers. So
Yes.
the question is, who is the requirements engineer? But you need someone who can translate the ideas of the customer to some specification. In this case, the entity model, the use cases, for example. I have customers, by the way, that can do that. They are able to write use cases or review use cases, work on use cases. But how would you do that with your current customers, maybe, or with customers? If you think at the past, what projects you did, would that work as well on that scale?
Yes, I think so, because the way I approach this as first of all, conducting basic customer interviews about a specific process to find out what their vision for a product or a solution is, what their use cases are. And also, in many cases, there's already an existing solution, be that based on Excel or based on some what's usually called legacy solution. And this is valuable data for a consultant to use to extract and derive cases and requirements from. And the way I envision this to be, using AI unified process as again as sort of collaboration between me and the AI. So I do the customer interviews, trying to extract the existing information in their existing system, and derive requirements and a vision, solution vision from that, and use this information to provide the AI with a useful guidance. So that's in general how I envision my process to be in the future.
Okay, so we're back to solution providers, enabler for adding business value in software, right?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
what would you recommend new developers or developers that are now a bit afraid that they will lose their job or there will not much programming be out there? What would you tell such people?
Focus on two aspects, really. Focus on the higher level view of how software is structured, is created. So focus on architecture, focus on your aspects like requirements engineering in your studies. If you're just starting out, really focus on the software engineering, on the requirements engineering part of your job. And also related to that, even if you're not self-employed or intending to be self-employed, focus on your marketing skills. So because marketing is not just about selling something, marketing is about finding out what the customer, and that may just as well be your employer, what your customer wants. And that's a really valuable asset to have. So I really suggest people just starting out right now and being afraid of this momentous change, really focus on architecture and marketing, basically. Even if that sounds maybe a bit strange to software engineers, to focus on something like marketing, but I think that's a really valuable skill to have.
Cool. That's a very interesting aspect. I didn't thought about that, to be honest. I will think about that as well. So it was great talking with you about your process. So if people like to get in contact with you, where can they find you?
They can find me on my website, björnkw.com, which is björnkw is my GitHub account name as well. So that's where that top level domain comes from, or rather second level domain it is. Yes, so that's where my where the name for my website comes from. So björnkw.com. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. It was great talking
welcome.
with you.
It's been a pleasure.
I have a lot of insights that I have to think about today for sure. And thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.
So that's it from our podcast today. Next podcast will be announced, I'm sure. So have a great day and bye, everyone.
See you. Bye.